Last time on Moto Therapy, I crossed southern Idaho into the wheat fields of eastern Idaho on the border of Wyoming and dropped my motorcycle in this very same wheat field. It's pretty hilarious. After I got my motorcycle back up and rolling, I rolled over the Tetons and into the Teton National Park and then on into Yellowstone National Park, where I camped overnight. I quickly realized shortly after spending some time in Yellowstone that the national parks just aren't my thing, and that was the big revelation that I had, just trying to weave through all the crazy people just stopping in the middle of the road, even though there's signs everywhere that say do not stop in the road. There's plenty of shoulder to pull off on, but everybody just wanted to stop in the middle of the road and take pictures of the bison and the elk and the deer and any other critter, just stopping. And just the chaos just made me really uncomfortable with national parks, because of the overwhelming number of people, number one, and the lack of access. But this was the first time I realized that was not my thing. And after I spent a half day wandering through there, I kind of bugged out. But it was great to get over into the Tetons that I'm crossing now. It was great to see the wonders that were out there in that area, and I understand why people like to travel to the wonders of national parks. It's beautiful, and the bubbling, steaming, bubbling cauldrons of water and mud. I get it, it's just not my thing. In fact, if I had it to do all over again, I probably would have spent my time just right here in the Tetons. There's enough fantastic beauty, mountains, a river runs through this valley here, and there's a whole lot less people, not as much boiling cauldrons, but still. Grand Tetons National Park, pretty freaking awesome. Amusement parks are not my thing, so I'm gonna try to find some nice trees to hang from this evening, and need to probably wrap up pretty good. Water is everywhere, trees are pretty much everywhere. I'm thinking if I head too far up into the mountains, trees won't be everywhere, because it looks kind of arid the further up you go. But man, would you look at those dadgum peaks? Those are awesome. Bison, it's what's for dinner. I'm pretty close to a lake and the Snake River, and it's fantastic out here. And I rolled into the campground, and it was pretty nice. And I thought, well, I could camp here, especially in tent camping, because it's pretty spread out. There's RVs everywhere. So I strolled over to the tent camping area. There's maybe 30 spots, and they're all taken except one. But I go up to the shack just to make sure, because it's nice. And I'd run into a deer on the way into the campground, so I thought, man, this is going to be cool. Big deer, too. Didn't really give a crap about me. Just kind of stood in the road chomping. But anyway, rolled back out to the shack, and they said, no, everything's taken. So I said, fuck it, I ain't paying $60 a night for a RV hookup. So anyway, here I am. Rolled back into some power lines right off the road. Got kind of lucky. Almost right after I almost got killed by a guy that decided 40 miles an hour wasn't fast enough for him, and so he passed me on a turn. He got up to 45 miles an hour after he passed me, so I don't know what the hell's his beef. But I was going kind of slow because I was looking around. Didn't even see him. He came up on me about 70 miles an hour, and slowed down, then just decided to pass me. So I moved the hell over. I mean, hell, there was cars coming. So, he was going to get hit, or he was going to jerk back into my lane. So anyway, he almost hit the cars. But anyway, I saw this road while he was trying to kill me. I turned around and came back. and it's a dead end, but the power lines go come off of that road that I turned off of, and just strolled down here a little bit. It's no camping, no fires, no vehicles. Okay. That's why they call it stealth camping. So I am in probably one of the quietest parts of the world, besides the salt flats, and I can hear an occasional bird, animal chirp, and every once in a while I can hear a loud car go by. But I'm sure that's gonna peter out as the night goes on, because the traffic sure has gone down. But I'm digging my little camp spot. Nothing fancy about it, just a couple little thin trees I'm hanging from. Actually 3 trees. I've got this one tied support behind it because it was a little bit small and started bending, dropping to the ground. And then I've got that. And then I got my bike back there. Gonna have to close everything up tonight because this is bear territory. We don't want them coming and waking me up trying to get my food, or whatever. I think there's grizzlies out here actually. Yeah, and they got the big animals out here. Several bikers I met at the turnoff coming into the Tetons. They were bitching about the wolves, saying that the wolves have kind of killed everything off except the bison. They said there's lots of bison. There's not so much elk or deer or anything else out here because of the wolves. So I don't know if that's actually true or not. I think things tend to balance out. But it was kind of a false introduction too. After wolves being around here for years and years, hundreds, thousands of years, we hunted them to extinction and then we reintroduced them. So maybe it takes a while to balance things out. I don't know. I'm not an ecologist. I'm not an ecologist. I'm a beerologist, and that's why I drink Bitch Creek from the Grand Teton Brewing Company. It's my favorite. It's an extra special brown ale for an extra special brown boy, red boy. Those caramel aftertones and that rich, smooth flavor keeps me coming back for more. It's so peaceful out here. Reminds me of the desert, camping out above the desert in Canyonlands. It's just so quiet. Wind's not even blowing. You can't hear anything. So I'm sitting in the park laundromat because it's open 24 hours and it's relatively warm in here. It's probably 65 degrees in here. So it's cold, but it ain't near as cold as it is out there. I woke up about 4 a.m. freezing my ass off, and I thought, well, maybe I need to get some body heat because I don't think it's that cold. Because it could have dropped from 75 to 40 or 35. I don't really think it was below 40. I think it was right around low 40s. But I got up, peed, walked around a little bit, took some pictures, got some heat built up. I thought, well, it's not that bad. Pulled my heat up, pulled my hood on, crawled back in. About 30 minutes later, just couldn't. I don't think it was even that. I think it was more like 15 minutes. It's like, this is fucking cold. So I got up, put my boots on, put my jacket on, put my hood on, walked around a little bit more, took some pictures, and all the pictures suck. The night pictures suck around here. The stars weren't that great. I mean, you could see a good bit of them, but they weren't that bright. But anyway, I said 4:30. Surely the shower thing in the laundromat will open up at 6, maybe even 5. So I figured, let's pack up, let's go on. I'm freezing to death, might as well freeze to death for the 5-mile ride to the laundromat. Well, it don't open until 7, so I've been sitting here for 2 hours, charging my batteries, using the AC and getting warm. I'm not really getting warm, I'm just staying neutral. Went up and washed my hands in warm water, still nothing. It kind of zapped me. I need a warm shower. That, I need some gloves. I don't have any gloves. I'm going to freeze my ass off leaving here. So, but at least I'll be clean, and I'll have a little bit of warmth put back in me. And, hope these folks running the shower laundromat don't toss me out before my batteries are charged. Anyway, great sleep until 4 o'clock. God, they are so quiet. Other than my sunburn, I slept better than I have on the whole trip. I guess that's what you get for riding a motorcycle in the nude in the salt desert. So after the sun came up and things started warming up, I felt like I had to, absolutely had to, go visit Old Faithful. They have it scheduled. It's I took a picture, but I don't remember what I did with the picture. I took a picture of a tree and tried to come up with a story of this ranger walking away from this tree after he flipped the switch for Old Faithful to fire up. They have got a stage over here, and you know, it's like a small boardwalk amphitheater thing, so people can just kind of sit around in a semicircle and watch Old Faithful go off every seemed like it's an hour and a half, 45 minutes, something like that. But I thought it was pretty funny. Took a picture of this ranger walking away from the tree that I took a picture of, and was gonna tell the story that it's not nature. They've got some kind of a high pressure heated hose over there under the rock, and you know, they make millions of dollars every year because this ranger goes over here and flips this switch every 45 minutes. So anyway, I thought it was kind of funny. As I was saying earlier, I quickly found myself feeling really uncomfortable riding around in all this traffic and all these people and all the scary behavior. It just took most of the fun out of it, and I quickly realized I'm not an amusement ride kind of a guy. I like being out in nature. I like riding on great roads, and these mud lava pits were awesome, but once I saw 2 or 3 of them, I was pretty much ready to go. And so I tried to find a quick exit, and as soon as I got to the eastern side of the park, I realized that there was a whole lot less people, so I started having a much better time enjoying nature until I would run across scenes like this, with the moron standing in the middle of the road just a few feet from a deadly bison. Good thing I didn't see him get mauled by this beast. So I made my way east out of the exit of the park, and as soon as I got clear of most of the tourists, my day started going a lot better. As you can see, even outside the park, the scenery is amazing, the roads are fantastic, and this was just a fantastic day to be exploring eastern Wyoming and getting outside of the amusement park with all the crazy people. I continued into Cody and then turned south towards Nebraska, but the weather became so cold and so wet, I decided to cash in one of my hotel tokens and spend the night and get dry and get ready for my next day rolling into Nebraska. So on my way to Iowa after leaving Lincoln, and they told me the bridges were closed, so I don't know how I'm gonna get. Obviously, the pathway across the Missouri River is underwater, at least where I'm headed. They said the interstate was closed, but I don't know. How do you close an interstate? How do you get? I mean, am I stuck in Nebraska for the rest of my life? There's got to be a way across. Anyway, I'm gonna turn around and see if somebody can tell me how to get across. That's a lot of water. I mean, one of the roads is completely underwater, and one of the roads looks like they're both underwater. Oh well, I'll figure something out. So it clearly did not get the memo that a large part of Iowa was underwater and almost impossible to gain access into the state, but I was determined to at least clip the southern corner of Iowa before heading south. So I wandered up the Platte to find this 100-year-old toll bridge to cross into Iowa.
Hi, how you doing? $1, dear.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
$1.
$1.
Yep. How you doing?
I'm going to Iowa. I don't care if I had to drive 30 miles out of the way. I'm going to Iowa.
Where are you going at in Iowa, honey?
Pardon?
Where are you going?
I'm just going into Iowa, then I'm going south.
Okay.
It's one of my many states that I'm trying to conquer.
Go down here to I-29 South exit. There'll be a U-turn there to go north a little bit. You know, 34 east. And then if you're going to go south, then you get 275 south.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome, honey.
It seemed like it took me forever to get into Iowa, but I was determined to get there, and I was glad I did. Found the significant amount of flooding that I was completely unaware of. Seemed like the whole southern part of Iowa was underwater, and kind of really hit home of how much damage was going on here and how much flooding was going on. I was also able to make a pit stop in the cornfields of Iowa before I left the state. I also had the opportunity to take a couple of detours, hoping to cut some time off my journey. Didn't do that, but I sure did have a good time blasting down these dirt roads, these old farm roads that seems like they're all connected by squares, so you can just jet down these very long, straight, rolling hills, and not have to worry about any kind of traffic, just kind of trying to keep the bike upright. These were true dirt road interstates, and they just went on for miles and miles and miles, and it's kind of impressive to see all these miles in between just a handful of houses out here. Looks like everybody owns, thousands of acres of farmland out here in between houses. It's quite interesting to see this. It was also quite impressive to see the miles and miles of train cars just stretching across the plains. This is not a really good example, but you can't see the end of either end of this train. But there were several spots where I just rode along beside the train, either going in the same direction or opposite direction, just miles and miles of trains. And here I'm escaping the rain before I cross into the next state. I was avoiding a lot of rain on the way back home, but there was just something that was just epic about the trip. Even crossing the great flat plains, nothing really to see here, just stretched plains stretching out for miles and miles, it was still quite extraordinary. Okay, it's 2:45 in the morning, Thursday. I was on my way back. The chain just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And last time I looked at it, I was like, man, it's a lot of slack has come into it, but I think I'll make it. I got about halfway from Mississippi to home, and the thing just started making all kinds of rackets. So I pulled over and tied the damn chain up. It had 6 inches of freaking slack in it. So either this is going to break the chain, or maybe I'll be able to make it home now. I don't think I would have made it because it was jumping teeth on acceleration. So found me a place that had some light and adjusted the chain, and hopefully that's going to do it. Man, I'm tired. I should have been home about 3 hours ago, but anyway, here I am. We'll see. And of course I made it back after more than 20 hours of riding that day, but it was one of the most magnificent trips of my life. It really changed the way I think about life, and it permanently altered the course of my life, because all I started thinking about after that was what I was doing and how I was living my life. So things started to change pretty dramatically after this, and traveling and exploring and adventure has been a real focus ever since this trip. So I would encourage you to explore and have an adventure of your own. It might change your life like this adventure has changed mine. I can't wait to see what you do on your adventure.